So far this semester, we've taken two types of derivatives. Right, the first one, which is our general power rule, where we had some kind of function along the lines of y is equal x to the rth power. Tells me y prime is r times x to the r minus 1. Right, we multiplied that number out in front, that exponent out in front, and then we subtracted 1 from the exponent. The second derivative we took was just learned last week, or the week before spring break, was y equals e to the x, in which case the derivative was y equals e to the x. Right, just as simple, not much going on. And the only thing that made this a little bit more complicated was when we had chain rules or anything like that. Now, the next piece is the derivative of the natural log, right? So our natural log is going to be something along the lines of y equals the natural log of x, and I promise you this derivative is just as easy. All right, it looks a little bit more complicated at the get-go, all right, but it makes chain rules and stuff a lot easier when you look at this derivative. For this derivative, y prime is going to be 1 over x, and that's it. All right, not much going on, just 1 over x. You notice we get rid of the natural log, which this is what makes the chain rule and stuff easier, is we no longer have any logarithms left in our equation. It's just 1 over x, right, which makes taking stuff a little bit nicer. All right, so let's get a little bit of practice with this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do all three of these examples, unlike what we've been doing. All right, just so we can kind of see what's going on. This first one's going to be a chain rule where the inside function is a logarithm, all right, which really isn't going to change much. It's actually not as nice of an answer, but because we still have a logarithm in it, but it's really not that bad, right? So this is your general power rule or chain rule, where we take R5, we multiply it out in front, all right, so we get y prime is equal to 5 times the natural log of x to the 4th power. Let me fix this up a little bit. All right, now that's the general power rule piece. That's the first part. We took the derivative of the outside. Now, because we're doing a chain rule, we also want to take the derivative of the inside function, this natural log of x, and we multiply by 1 over x, because that is the derivative of natural log of x. Okay, and so we end up with a final answer. Just to clean it up a little bit, y prime is 5 times the natural log of x to the 4th divided by x. All right, this next one is actually going to be a product rule. So let's go and write the product rule to the side. We're going to have f prime of x times g of x plus g prime of x times f of x. Get that written there. Okay. Again, just writing that down so we kind of have it memorized. So let's find all those pieces that we need. First and foremost, my f of x is going to be x, this first piece. My g of x will be the natural log of x, which tells me f prime, here's a hard one, just 1. G prime is 1 over x. All right, I really like this because things tend to get pretty simple. All right, so when we start filling this out, we start doing our cross for our product rule. We get y prime is equal to 1 times the natural log of x plus 1 over x times x. So we get natural log of x. This piece here is actually just 1. Natural log of x plus 1. Okay? And that's what that product rule tells us there. This last one looks pretty complicated, but I will tell you it's one of the easiest functions that we're going to use this idea a lot. All right, this is a chain rule again, but this time the outside function is a natural log. All right, so when we deal our y prime, we take the derivative of the outside, which is just 1 over x. Now in this case, it's 1 over the entire inside of the function. All right, so our derivative is going to be 1 over x to the third plus 5x squared plus 8. All right, but remember, since we're doing a chain rule, we need to multiply by the derivative of the inside function, which is the derivative of this inside polynomial. All right, so we get 3x squared plus 10x and plus 0 from that 8. All right, so then we'll clean this up. Our y prime is 3x squared plus 10x over x to the third plus 5x squared plus 8. Okay, and we can generalize this, and this is what gets really nice, is we can do a generalization where if we have a function y is equal to the natural log of some function inside, right? Generally this will be a polynomial, not always, but mostly. Our derivative is now the derivative of the inside function divided by the inside function. Again, notice no natural logs left in our answer. Everything simplifies out. This is going to help us when we start doing this. So it's going to be a rate of change formula we're going to use later on, but it's a really easy general function to deal with. All right, and that's what's going to help us as we move forward. All right, this conclusion piece I have done here, I don't have much of a conclusion other than this generalization here. Y is equal, or y prime will be f prime of x divided by f of x. Also remembering that if I have y is equal to the natural log of x, the derivative is y prime is 1 over x. That's kind of the whole key idea to this section. All right, so what I would check now is go online, do the homework assignments, and make sure you're super comfortable with these derivatives. Again, I will be available this afternoon from 5:30 to 6:30 to this evening, I guess, and then also Wednesday. All right.